Joplo Bar 2, welcome to Falcon Planet.
What's up, Falcons fans? Falcon Planet here. I'm Colin.
I'm Dusty.
And we're briefly going to talk about the loss today to the Bengals. We lose by 2 touchdowns. Not a good game. Matt Ryan, 3 interceptions, threw for about 150 yards.
He got hit a bunch of times today.
He got hit, and that was our key to the game. Could the offensive line step up? Could we move the ball against this front seven? And did we do that?
Not really well.
You know, Julio Jones had a touchdown, which was about the only bright spot. We didn't have a single touchdown until late in the fourth quarter.
Right.
That's not going to get the job done. Now, granted, the Bengals are a top 5 team, in my opinion. They have a great defense, top 10 defense, but we should have beat this team. With the offense they have, A.J. Green didn't play, but
Marvin Jones didn't play.
They don't really have anybody to throw the ball to, and yet we couldn't get the job done against this offense. It's really disappointing to see, but the least important game you play all year is an AFC road game. Those games mean nothing. But talk about the other team in our division that lost today. That's pretty embarrassing. Who lost?
The Saints.
Who did they lose to?
They lost to Cleveland.
Did Manziel play?
No, he didn't.
Who did he lose to?
Brian Hoyer.
That's pretty pathetic. It was a road game. They did play in Cleveland, but the Browns, they're 0-2 now. We're 1-1. That means Carolina somehow is leading the division. They won the division last year, but
did Cam Newton play today?
Cam Newton did play.
Okay.
He played pretty good, but I can't believe that Carolina is leading the division after 2 weeks. 2-0. What do we take out of this game, if anything? Any good things? I'd say if I had to look at it, our cover corners, I feel like they played pretty good. They took a lot of shots in this game, threw it deep a lot of times. They didn't complete any of them. The only play where I didn't like was when we had that all-out blitz. Robert Alford against the wide receiver, Sanu, I think it was.
Yeah.
76-yard touchdown. That was good coverage, though. That was just a better throw. Robert Alford was right there. He could have easily batted the ball away, but he didn't. They scored the touchdown. But Desmond Trufant, I feel like he played a great game. But the guys we brought in on this defensive line, Tyson Jackson, Paul Soulier, they were brought in to do what? To stop the run.
Bring toughness to the line.
Bring toughness to the line and to shore up our run defense for sure. These guys aren't going to get to the quarterback that often, but they're big, beefy
Tyson
guys.
Jackson's a natural defensive end.
Right. Paul Soulier is one of the biggest nose tackles in football. They're supposed to be able to stop the run. Did they do that today?
Not really. It was mostly Babineau.
They just didn't play good at all. They did not come to play. Maybe the hype got to them. They were so high off of winning against the Saints. We let Giovanni Bernard do whatever he wanted.
It was a big win at home, and it was kind of a hangover almost.
They don't lose at home. They only lost 1 regular season game all year last year at home, the Bengals. So it's a very tough team to play when they're at home, kind of like us. At the Georgia Dome, we don't usually lose. So it's not like we lost to a bad team by any means. This team's really good. Good news is we won't see them again this year unless somehow the Falcons play them in the Super Bowl, which the odds of the Falcons playing the Bengals in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't take that bet.
Even the odds of the Falcons getting to the Super Bowl.
And even the odds of the Bengals getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They usually find a way to lose games, big games. So we're going to jump right into the preview. This Thursday night we are playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Georgia Dome, a game that we're going to. I can't believe Week 3 is already here. It's really flown by. It's going to be a good game, I think.
Well, it's really week 2.5 for us because
we have a short week. Do you think this is going to help us or hurt us?
Well, I think part of us playing bad on Sunday was partly because we knew we had to play Thursday.
Right.
And against a division opponent.
It is. This game, even though it's against Tampa, who is 0-2, they lost to the Rams today, and they lost to Carolina without Cam Newton.
A division opponent is a higher priority.
Right. It doesn't. I don't care how bad Tampa Bay's played so far this year. Division games are always the closest and the most exciting games to watch. I don't care who you are. The game's going to be close, whether we like it or not, in my opinion. Who on that offense do you look to that we need to shut down? Probably a wide receiver.
Probably either Vincent Jackson or Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, coming out of Texas A&M. Their run game was pretty good. Talk about the guy on their I can't think of his name. He's pretty irrelevant. But he ran for 140 something yards today.
It's not Doug Martin.
Doug Martin
he's
is
out,
hurt, I think.
Yeah.
We'll look it up. We'll put it in below. We can't remember everybody, Don't sue us for that. But he ran pretty good, so it looks like we're going to have to bring this run defense, and they're going to actually have to show up. Josh McCown. That's who we're going up against. On a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm scared.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is
How
Josh
bad is he?
On
I
a
mean,
scale of 1 to 10.
He's not bad, but I just think he was overrated last year, I think. He came in and won a bunch of games for Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And, all the Bears fans were like, "Oh, we should start him over Jay Cutler."
Right.
And it's like, are you ridiculous?
I think they made the right move of letting him go.
Exactly.
Lovie Smith is now the head coach of Tampa Bay, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of wanted Lovie Smith to come to Atlanta in the offseason. I think that would have helped us because he's a defensive-minded coach, which shows because their defense is not bad. Their linebacking core is pretty good.
They have Levante David, who kind of tore us up last year.
Right. They've got a good team. They brought in a safety, I'm pretty sure, that's pretty good. Can't think of his name either. I mean,
they got Mark Barron.
Tampa Bay has been so irrelevant.
Golson.
There you go. Deshaun Goldson from the 49ers. I mean, they've been so irrelevant as of late. Nobody talks about them, so what's the point in us looking at
But their defense is pretty solid.
Their defense isn't bad. It's all about how bad their offense has been so far. What is your expectations in this game? Do you think we'll win? And just what are your keys to win?
I think we'll win this game. It'd be tough to say the keys to winning. I'm not really sure. We just have to move the ball on offense.
Right. Something we did not do against Cincinnati. Matt Ryan, very inefficient with the football. He threw 2 interceptions that were terrible. Bad throws. The other interception off the tip to Toilolo, you got to live with that. That's going to happen from time to time. But the other 2 interceptions were terrible. Don't throw that ball. I don't understand.
That last interception was bad. He could have almost had a touchdown if he threw it.
Right.
Had a little more loft on it.
It looks like it was a miscommunication with Harry Douglas. Harry Douglas kept running on the sideline, and the ball was way short. Not sure what route it was, if it was a miscommunication. The second interception was terrible from about the 25-yard line. He shoots into the end zone. I'm thinking, okay, here we go. We've probably got Julio Jones right wide open. It's going to be a touchdown. Cut the game to, I think, 10 points at the time. Nope, interception. So Matt Ryan went from as high as you possibly could get as being the NFC Player of the Week on offense to being probably the worst quarterback in the NFC this week. Terrible. Even Josh McCown had better numbers, in my opinion. At least he didn't turn the ball over 3 different times. I just think we need to move this ball down the field, which we will. And I expect this defense on the Falcons to show up and really play with some aggression and anger after the way that they played against the Bengals. I don't feel like the defense played terrible against the Bengals. I feel like it obviously was Matt Ryan's inefficiency to get the ball downfield. Now, sure, the offensive line didn't play as good as they possibly could have, but with the guys on our team to throw the ball to, they should be able to get open in time for Matt Ryan to throw them the ball, and they didn't.
Something I've noticed in the past 2 weeks already is that Matt Ryan's a lot more mobile.
He is, which is great to see because Matt Ryan is known as a little girl in recent past. If he starts to run the ball, he's going to go down 10 yards before a guy's even near him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in the first 2 weeks. He's going at it. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to pick up first downs, which I love to see.
If he's got an open field, he goes for it. He goes for the first down. He used to throw the ball away. I just didn't like his decision-making in this game.
Yeah. The decision-making in this game was very poor, not like Matt Ryan. So I would expect the Falcons to make a comeback, reverse this bad play, and I feel like we win fairly easily. Even though usually games like this, division games, go down to the wire and usually are within 7 to less points, 7 to 3 points. I don't see it being that close. I say the Falcons win this game 31-10. I
would say 31-17. That's about my range there.
I just feel like this defense is going to come to play. I feel like the defense is going to play a lot like they did against the Broncos 2 years ago. You remember how everybody thought Peyton Manning was going to come in and shred our defense? I feel like that was a Thursday night game.
I think it was a Sunday or Monday night. It was a night game. It was a big
definitely
primetime game.
It was a primetime game, and the Falcons.
And they had 3 interceptions in the first quarter.
I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like we're going to turn the ball over. Trufant might have an interception. You never know. But I feel like the defense is going to come to play. We're going to force turnovers, and we're going to march down the field and score pretty easily. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? The division. We're now second in the division. The Saints losing was huge. That made this game today against the Bengals mean absolutely nothing. We didn't lose any ground on the Saints. We're still ahead of them.
That means they have a lot of ground to catch up.
Right,
now.
they have a lot of ground to catch up. They're 2 games behind Carolina right now. Now, sure, I feel like in college,
and I feel like Carolina could fall too.
Yeah, and they will. They just don't have that star power on offense anymore. Cam Newton has nobody but Kelvin Benjamin now to throw the ball to.
Which he's a great talent.
He is. And I feel like that was a steal in the draft, one of the top 5 steals. But in college, you know how like SEC games are very important. If you lose a non-SEC game, it's not the end of the world. But in the NFL, I feel like that doesn't really matter as much. Sure, division games are important, but you don't play that many division games. I feel like your overall record means more than playing division games. So the Saints being 0-2.
But sometimes you need that tiebreaker to win.
Right, and usually that comes into play. But when you only have 4 teams in a division, unlike the SEC where they have an entire conference full of teams, sure, they have 2 different divisions, but they have 1 conference. Right. So to win the conference is a lot harder than to win the division because of how many teams there are. So I feel like division games aren't as important in the NFL as they are in college, but still very crucial. And for the Saints to be 0-2, even though no division games, that's a big hole to come out of. And I think the Falcons are in good position right now. We lose a bad game, a game that you thought we would lose to begin with, and I thought we were going to lose. I didn't pick us to lose, but it seemed like after every day was going by, I just got a bad feeling about this game. Yeah. I felt like Giovanni Bernard was going to run all over our defense.
And he did.
I texted Seth about this last night, about how I thought Giovanni Bernard was going to torch us catching the ball. That's exactly what he did. Andy Dalton with these little stupid dump-off plays that turned into 40-yard runs. So I really hope Atlanta comes out and redeems himself Thursday night. It's a short week. Gerald McCoy is a very key player for Tampa Bay. He went out of this game today against the Rams, and it being a short week, let's hope he doesn't play. So, last thing we'll say, I want you to pick one player, offense or defense, on Atlanta that needs to step up and play good, other than Matt Ryan. Because obviously Matt Ryan needs to get himself out of the hole.
I think it's going to be the outside of the Lamar Holmes or Karimi.
And hopefully maybe Jake Matthews plays. I feel like since it's a short week, we sit him out one more week, and then we have a week and a half before our next game against Minnesota. I feel like the next time we'll see Jake Matthews is Minnesota. I feel like sit Jake Matthews out this Thursday against a weaker opponent in Tampa Bay. Give him another week and a half of rest. So that's 2 full weeks of rest off. I think 3. Regardless, don't play him this Thursday. Look for Gabe Karimi and Lamar Holmes out there. But that's a good point. Lamar Holmes did not play good today. Karimi, I felt like, played pretty good. And when you see Jake Matthews come back, you might see Karimi move to the right spot or stay left, and you might see the combo of Jake Matthews and Gabe Karimi now, because I feel like Karimi has came to play. My key player, let's see here. I would say William Moore. William Moore, I don't feel like he had that good of a game. He's got to be the leader on that defense. He's been there the longest. There's a lot of young guys on this defense. Willie Moore needs to step up. He needs to get an interception. He needs to make some plays. Not worry about trying to strip the ball like he always does, but to actually tackle. I feel like it's just this defense as a whole needs to step up, and that's my key to the game is this defense.
I think just the defensive line needs to step up.
They've had no pressure at all. I don't think they sacked Andy Dalton one time.
They don't make quarterbacks feel uncomfortable. That's the problem.
So I feel like that's 2 weeks now with 0 sacks. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. 2 weeks in the NFL with no sacks. That's terrible. So that's really all we got. We'll be at the game. It's going to be exciting.
I mean, at least get a pressure and get a hit on a quarterback. You don't even have to sack him. Just make him.
He's sitting back there
throw off his timing
all day to throw the ball, which is not good. So that's really all we got. We'll come out with a video probably Friday of next week, recapping this Tampa Bay game. Falcons are 1-1. Hopefully they're 2-1, and I feel like we both feel like they will be. So catch us after the game. Subscribe, comment. Oh, we have our giveaway. We hit 300 subscribers. I think we're at 305. So I completely forgot. So next video we'll do the drawing or whatever we do.
Okay.
We'll give you a picture. So you got to be subscribed to us to do that. So we'll talk to you later, guys. Go Falcons.
Go Chargers.